right, so here we are. Welcome to the first podcast on the YouTube channel. Don't really have an official name for this podcast yet, but let's do some introductions real quick, I guess. I'm Zach White. This is obviously on my YouTube channel, Zach White Talks, and this podcast came about from an idea that my brother Tyler came up with.
Hi, I'm his brother Tyler. We decided to do a podcast together to see what you guys be interested in having the four of us talk about, whatever it is we come up with or something maybe you come up with in the future. So
I'm Brandon. I'm also contributing to this podcast.
you heard it, folks.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm the bestest friend out of all these guys.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, so that was a terrible introduction by Brandon and Josh. Tyler, good job. You're good at this.
It was all good.
It wasn't bad. All right, so that's who we are, and now we're going to kind of talk about, this first podcast is going to be a little bit about who we are, more explained, what we do, some of our goals, and just a little bit about our lives so we can get introduced to all of you. I go to school. That is what I'm currently doing. I've talked about this in previous videos on the channel. If you haven't checked those out, I highly recommend you go check out my introduction video or my Q&A video. Those are videos that talk about me. I don't really need to spend a lot of time talking about myself and what I do. But
Because it's my turn. I am Tyler. Yeah, I already said that. I work at Stonyvale Farms. I grew up there. Actually, my dad worked there for the first 10, 11, 12 years of my life. Fell in love with it as a child. And I am very thankful to start working there within the past year. They treat me very well. They're a great place. Honestly, probably the most respectful place I've worked for.
shout out Stonyvale.
And they're a great group of people. Everybody I work with has a goal in life. They want to do more. I want to do better. They're motivating. It's motivating, and it's a positive outlook and all of it. And I enjoy what it is I do. So there's mine.
So I work at a Woodmill in Guilford. It's not really what I plan on doing for the next not even 6 months. Sort of a pit stop for me. I have other things planned in my life.
Don't watch this Woodmill, people.
Don't
listen to this.
Don't watch it. But I have other plans, and obviously they're not really figured out right now. It's always changing. I just try to do my best there, but it is what it is.
Hey man, that's great. You gotta do what you gotta do.
I work at Pleasant River in Dover, night shift. Work over at the planer mill. Kind of a place to kind of grow, see if I like it or not. Test it out. I don't know. I enjoy it so far, so we're gonna see how long it lasts.
Yeah.
It's good, man. It's good.
One thing that I'll say about all of you guys, you've done a good job of stepping right out of high school and going into the workforce. It's not always easy, especially Tyler. You've had a lot of bumps in the road, but I guess a question I have for you guys, and you guys can kind of go up this the way you want to or in order in which you want to, is what struggles did you have when you went from leaving high school to being in the real world right away?
I'm gonna go last here. I want you guys.
Well, I think personally, it's more or less kind of I wouldn't say freedom, but I think it's the time you have. You're spending more time into working. You're putting in extra hours. The money is obviously a bonus, but you're also not being the kid that you kind of want to be. And sometimes it's a struggle, and then there's times it's great. You get weekends off. You go do fun stuff with your friends, but most of the time you're spending all your hard work and stuff like that working. You don't do much after that.
What were those first 6 months like, where you're going from a total change from essentially being a kid and not having that same responsibility? 6 months later, you're still very much so a kid. You don't have life figured out, but you're living an adult life. What were Josh, did you have any struggles when you first started, or?
I felt more sense of responsibility. I felt more or less that, I got bills to pay. I feel more of an adult. It's obviously a step in adulthood, but it's kind of at the same time, first 6 months in, you're like, it's a lot of money. I feel like I want to blow it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a hard time saving money, but at as time goes on, you really got to realize that saving money is important, and being an adult, especially in this day and age, it's kind of important being a young adult, trying to figure out who you are and the process in doing it. As long as it's nice to have help, but as long as you're keeping the mindset, staying strong with what you do, I mean, obviously you're gonna make it.
Yep.
I want to add on to what Josh had to contribute there. When I was 18, sadly it was a long time ago now, but when I got into the workforce, I had that same mindset Josh just said. You want to just blow your money. You're making a lot of money, you're a kid, you get put into that, and you may have not been making it, and all of a sudden you're making a lot of money. You want to go spend it on stuff. You don't want to go, you want to have fun. You're not exactly ready to be responsible necessarily. And
right.
I personally, was making a good amount of money when I get into the workforce coming out of high school, and I ended up not being very responsible with some of my spendings. And that, now I look back at it and wish I had been, but am I necessarily upset that I had that good time when I was that age? Absolutely not.
You had to learn too.
Yes.
It takes those experiences to
and
learn.
I'm still learning at 25. Everybody has. We all go through differences in life. Differences.
When you stop learning in life, you stop living.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You learn something. You should learn something new every single day of your life, or else you're not going about it the right way. You're not challenging yourself enough.
Exactly.
If you're not making mistakes, if you're not leaving yourself vulnerable and learning from it, it's important to learn from it. You don't want to just make mistakes. You want to get the right idea out of it. But that's what life is, man. But
Yeah. Also, you wanna stay positive as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because especially being so young, working, it can really bring you down, and
It can at times, yes.
you really feel stressed out. And sometimes you get a lot of anxiety that comes with it. But I mean, as long as you just keep your head up and just do you, stay positive. It can be amazing. It really can.
It could benefit you very well if you're very true to it and it makes you happy. Of course, you got to go into what it is you do in life being happy. You can't go into something being miserable. I mean, some people you got to do what you got to do in life too to get by. Yeah. But you really should try to do something that makes you happy, and that's extremely important because it keeps you a positive mindset. Makes you want to do better, makes you want to stay happier and continue to be.
Yeah, and me personally, the way that I sort of keep my head is I push myself in limits, not in terms of like money or like just how I'm living, but physically, as in trying to stay active, trying to stay in shape.
Yes.
And that's also a lot harder after high school.
Yeah, it is, and it's just a mindset, honestly. And then once you get into it, honestly, it's hard to lose it. I mean, like when I first came out of high school, when I first came out of high school, I was at college. I was working and going to school, but I'd still find time to go to the gym. And then after I got out of college, I sort of went off that for, I don't know, it was probably a year and a half.
Right.
And then
it's easy to.
The past, I want to say 4 or 5 months, I've gotten back into it, and it just takes over your life. It's a lifestyle, and it brings you something to look forward to after you get out of work or whenever you do it.
It's so weird, but this is kind of a common fact. It's kind of an accepted thing that everybody knows, but you don't think about it. When you're in high school, middle school, there's a lot of opportunities to be active. And we all took advantage of that.
Right.
And a lot of people take advantage of that. Whether it's you're younger and you're on the playground, or you go to middle school, high school, and you're playing more sports and you're doing stuff year round, there's a lot of opportunities to be active. Yep. Once you get out of that type of scene, it's all self-motivated. And you can think like, I'm not going to get out of shape because I've always been in shape. Right. And that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to think about what I eat. I don't have to do that adult stuff. It does eventually come around. Yeah. And it's definitely something else that, other than the bills, other than all that stuff, you have to think about your body and literally how you're going to take care of yourself.
It's something you got to teach yourself. Like, obviously, when we're in high school, we can eat anything. Like, we can eat candy, anything.
Yeah, with all the sports we did and everything.
Yeah, and then after you get out, as your body's growing and you're maturing, there's certain things that you realize just they're not good for you. They taste awesome, but they're not helping you.
Right.
Yeah, I used to eat like pure crap.
Yeah.
It's easy to. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm even good at this now.
No.
It's because things like that are battles.
Yeah.
Because when you grow up doing something, to stop doing it cold turkey it's nearly impossible.
Yeah.
And I completely give people credit if you can do that. And if you can do that, great, that's awesome. But for me, I had a real hard time giving up sweets and sodas and things like that because it never mattered, like you were saying. But
You know, it's weird to me because soda, once I've gotten older, when I was younger, I used to love soda. Soda now for me, I am.
completely agree. Completely agree.
Really, I don't drink it at all. It really, I mean, other than my energy drink, if you want to call that a soda, I guess you can. But
That's more like a guilty pleasure thing. You don't drink that.
It's not
all
addictive.
day.
Well, it probably is addictive. But
true. But soda in general, like Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, that's not something I've been into for years, and it's been good. Can't complain. Sweets aren't really my thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, eating like crap is like it's cheaper. Like the food.
It is cheaper.
Everything's cheaper.
That's a society thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's an issue we have as like maybe it's a society thing. Maybe it's a country issue. Because if you look at other countries, it's not exactly the same.
It's all fresh food.
I love America. Go USA. But we do have to think about these things. It's
McDonald's.
our fast food culture. And we have to really focus on a healthy lifestyle in different ways because we have different opportunities. We're very blessed to have these opportunities. Yeah. But
that was a lot of my problem. When I started working, I made money and I just felt like, I can go out to eat anytime I want.
You were also working. A fun fact: I don't want to steal Josh's thunder, but he was working over the road in the trucking industry, and
yeah, that don't help.
that lifestyle. I mean, that's you have to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah.
You stop at places and
You don't have
to
time
go
to
on
just
the
sit down
road,
and cook a meal, really.
Makes sense.
No, you're always on the road. You're always on the go, and no matter what, you don't really get anything healthy over there, especially at truck stops and stuff like that.
It's impossible.
True.
It's all quick,
Pretty much.
food that's just processed. It really just brings you down. I don't know how many pounds I've gained just being over the road and stuff, but as I come back and right now I'm in my newer job, it's a lot better. I'm more active, more moving.
Yeah.
I don't spend as much money
And
going out.
the thing is when you're on the road though, it's not like you were behind a desk or anything like that. You were moving furniture. Like you were doing something something legit. Like it's
To a point, but also you gotta look at the fact that you're going about 5-6 hours traveling nonstop, and then some days it's a full day of nonstop traveling.
And you just
stop and then you just sit there and eat.
You know, that's one thing I don't miss. I used to work construction for Bowman Brothers. My dad works there as well. And used to be a lot of traveling. I used to have to, there was one point in time, this is actually the reason I left them. But I was traveling from Rangeley in the middle of the week to Beals Island, which both are separate parts of the state. They're both,
If you don't know,
one's on the west.
They're across the state.
So it was a little ridiculous, and I did that for a long time. So,
But it's necessary.
It is.
For companies and people that are trying to make a living and try to keep their business going.
It is.
Those are things you have to do, and it's fine if that's like. And I don't blame you at all, and I don't blame anyone that wouldn't want to do that. But it's an unfortunate part of industry. But like going back to how we were talking about learning, it takes those experiences to say maybe this isn't exactly what I want to be doing, and it's important to realize that. And those experiences are good. All right, so that was a very good in-depth conversation, but let's draw it back a little bit. Try to stick to the list we have here. I'm gonna skip the next. I'm gonna skip this one on the list.
Okay,
and I'm gonna
I think we kind of
we kind of talked about a lot of that. Let's go into how we all met, because I think it's important for everyone to understand why us four are sitting here together. I'll go first in my relation to these guys, and then they can kind of tell their own stories. But this guy's my brother, so I didn't really have a choice with him. But I met him day one, I guess you could say. So he's been a big role model in my life and a great part of it sometimes. That Josh guy back there, I've known him. He might be my oldest friend in terms of time span. I've known him since I could make friends.
15, 16.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only 21 years old, and I've been friends with him since I really could be friends with people, like I just said. But we go way back, grew up around the same town, went to the same school all the way through, and here we are. This guy I met in... should I tell the story of how you and I became friends?
yeah, it's pretty good.
This is a good story.
Oh boy, I want to hear
So, yeah, you might not even know this.
I know.
So, in middle school, you have, or at least the way our middle school was, is we had these things called homerooms. And that is kind of where you started your day, you finished your day. It was your home base to where you would meet, and the teachers would make sure that we were all squared away and we got our bus passes, all that stuff, and we were all set. Well, 7th grade came around, and that's really, I knew who Brandon was, but I wouldn't say, we were friends, but I wouldn't say we were close.
It wasn't close.
So 7th grade comes around, and the way the room worked out is there was desks here, desks spattered around, and I'm going to try to show where we were. I'm sitting here in the corner of the room, and Brandon is sitting right here. I'm in the corner. Brandon's on the other side of the corner. And we're back to back, but, I mean, we were right beside each other.
Yeah.
So we would talk, and we really started to hit it off during that. There was this one specific incident that a lot of people might be like, why were you friends with him after that? But anyways, I don't even remember how it started, but we were just wrestling. We were just wrestling and shooting the shit. And Brandon comes up and picks me up. And remember how I said these desks were in the corner? Well, he dropped me on the corner in my nuts on the desk. And I don't know what it was, but the second my nuts touched that table, it was like a bond.
Yeah.
Was just there.
Miss Wyman walked in right after, too.
She was our homeroom teacher.
He's holding himself.
It was bad. It wasn't good. Oh, but I remember deeper than that. Now, obviously, we're best friends and have been ever since. But that summer, I didn't get to see you very much.
No.
And I was a little nervous because I hadn't seen you and I missed you.
No.
And Brandon had a very distinct look in 7th grade. He had a buzz cut, no hair.
Oh, man.
5'11" of them
5'11".
in
7th grade.
in heels. Anyways, so he had a very distinct look. And I was like, oh, and we were having our preseason football meeting. And this is 8th grade. And I can see Brandon's stepmother. So I'm like, oh, he must be with her. So I come peeling around the corner. Brandon walks in. He's got shaggy hair down to here. I'm like, oh no, I lost him. I lost him for a summer. He was totally the same person. It was just his hair was terrible.
That was very terrible.
All right, sorry, I took a long time.
Well, we
with
could
that,
take
but-
back the time that you had the nice little fro.
Oh no.
That was
I've gone through that stage myself.
Yeah, I used to. Maybe I'll throw up a picture of it, but I used to have an afro, which
bad. Yeah, like it was bad.
it was pretty good. Yeah, we've all had some hair days. Tyler had an afro.
I did. I have a picture on Facebook, actually, of me with my big afro. My hair is actually pretty long now, but my Stonyvale hat is covering that.
Yeah.
Because it's a little out of crazy.
Josh's hair has basically stayed the
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never
it's
really
been-
changed my hair. or
been
anything.
steady,
I
yeah.
mean, when I was in, I want to say middle school, I kind of had that Justin Bieber hair. It was like
Yeah,
a whip
you
head.
That was the
actually
thing.
could. That was a long time ago, though.
I worked it a little bit. But as time went on, I was like, it's got to go.
All right, so that was how I met you guys. But we were talking earlier, and you don't remember how you met Tyler, right?
No.
Can we
It just sort of happened. I don't know.
Let's try to figure it out. When would you guys have met? Because obviously it would have been through me.
Yeah, it would have been through you.
I want to say it was through sports when you guys got into high school.
Actually, yeah, maybe.
You know what?
That's what I remember.
You should
Brandon
tell a
off
story
of.
about the first time you rode my dad.
Oh no! All right, so was it freshman year? I think no, it was sophomore year.
Was it even in high school? When did you live out that way? He lived close to me. So
I think it was freshman.
Brandon moved from one house and he lived relatively close to where I was living. So there was a day my dad was bringing him home.
Yeah. Well, before that, his mom had brought me home, and it was like the first week I moved out there, so I didn't know my way around. And so we drove around for probably, I don't know, hour or 2 hours trying to find this shack I lived in. And then the next day, it's not Mama Shannon bringing us home. It's Papa Mike. And I was trying to be nice, and I was like, so I was trying to explain to him where I lived. He's like, don't even worry about it. I know. Just be quiet.
Just be quiet.
And that was my first impression. And for the first, I want to say like maybe 6 months to a year, I was scared of the man because I couldn't read him.
Which is everyone's initial reaction to my dad. totally the wrong reaction.
Yeah, he's intimidating, but the man is about as sweet as
And
sweet
funny.
can be.
He's not
He's
gonna
funny.
like this, but he'll cry at opera. I mean, he's such a sweetheart. He's a great man.
He's an intimidating man. He wants to betray that, but once you get to know him, he's a great human being.
Yeah.
And he's wicked funny.
He is funny. He's
Wicked funny.
He's a
Goofball.
funny guy. All right. Well, that was pretty good for all that. Just you have a story you want to add to how
I want to say I remember like the first memory I've had of Josh is when he lived across from the school.
Yep.
I remember seeing you and Nate out there when I was actually going to that school and seeing you guys out there playing. That's my first memory of Josh.
Yeah, that might have been my first with you,
Yeah,
to
probably.
be honest.
Yeah.
But I know
So I've known you forever.
Yeah, I know I met Zach. Oh, we was kind of talking about this earlier. I first met him, I want to say in like 2005.
Yeah.
He had a birthday party at our friend Chandler's.
Mm.
He went to,
Oh yeah.
and
That
he
actually probably
he
is. it.
swung by, dropped my brother off, and I met him and his dad there.
Yeah, because I knew his brother probably before you technically,
Yeah.
and his brother and his brother and me, Nathan, have always been in the same grade growing up. So
Yeah, and I want to say that's the first time we've ever, I mean, obviously, we've always stuck close after that. We played sports together and never really kind of separated.
yeah.
Brandon, oh man, first time I ever met him was on the bus. He
Was
used to
it?
make, yeah, you used to make all kinds of faces. It made us laugh.
Still does.
Used to get in trouble.
Lots of trouble.
You remember the
actually.
braided face?
No.
It's not good for
The
camera.
braided.
As a kid, we used to laugh so much at that.
It was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah.
And that's how we kind of hit it off.
Yeah.
Just joking around,
Yeah.
having fun.
Being goofs, yeah.
All right.
That's what it is.
Yeah, so that's I guess kind of how we all met. We got a couple more things on this list. Aiming for like a 30-minute podcast to start off with, and it's already been flying by. This is a lot of
Say we
fun.
got about 21 minutes in there.
Yeah, this is pretty fun. I guess I'll skip this one because I think that would be good for an individual one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go and talk about some of our goals. Let's get a little deep with it. This has been a pretty deep podcast in general, so we're talking about us on this first one, and might as well just keep talking about this. With the new year coming up, everybody's kind of thinking about goals for the next year or goals in general. I've kind of... I do have big goals. I mean, like if you're talking goals you want to check off, everybody wants a family, the white picket fence, those ideas. I'm not really going to talk about that. My goal for 2020, because I want to go shorter goals here. My goal for 2020 is to do things that make me genuinely happy. That might be kind of a cop-out thing.
No, but that's,
But-
yeah.
Things like this, like sitting down with some of the people I love most in the world and filming a podcast. And it's not a great format. I mean, we got a phone
Just
camera.
Bear with
Just
us.
winging it.
We'll figure it out. But I
We'll get
mean,
it.
I
We'll get it.
genuinely love this. I love doing things like this. I love creating content. I love the fact that I finally made a YouTube channel. I love being able to make things that make me proud. Things like that are my goals for 2020. And really, the next year, I'll make a new set. But until I'm really settled down out of college, I really want to start tackling this shorter span goals and make sure that you get them done. I mean, not saying you don't have long-term responsibilities. Everybody does.
Right.
But goals, creating content, and being genuinely happy.
I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great
At the
plan.
age
honestly.
we're all at, I think that's a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah. It's always the baby steps, you know. And for me, my goals for next year would be to get a better job, to be more financially stable. I'm pretty stable right now, but as it is, it's like you have money for certain things, and then everything else you have left over, you're trying to save. And
Yeah, and you
At
also
this
got a new
age.
car, so.
I just got a new car.
Very nice too.
It's a 2013 Ford Focus ST. I love it. It's actually one of the goals I've had is just get a decent car. I've had a lot of.
You haven't had the
Oh
best
my
luck with
God.
vehicles.
That's like a totally new thing.
That's a
to
future
talk.
podcast.
That's
That's
so
a future
bad.
podcast. A Brandon car saga. We could spend 45 minutes on that.
But
Probably more.
Brandon and I both.
yeah,
Yeah, these two cars.
yeah. I mean,
I will say this about you because I don't think you'd say it about yourself. Is you've really done a good job, especially recently. You've always done a good job, but recently you've done a really good job of stepping up and making a lot of big time choices and big time decisions, and you've done a good job with it. Like this vehicle, it's a very nice car, by the way. You got an apartment.
Yep.
I mean, you're thinking and you're making smart decisions. Both of you are. I mean, everyone here is. But I would say that about you is you've done a very good job with that, and I'm proud of you.
Honestly, when it comes to that, it's a matter of, obviously you're trying to put it off because like you're anxious, you're scared, you don't want to do it because like obviously you want life to be easy, you want to do everything the easy way, but
That also ties back to being young, bud.
yeah, like it's
For
just
sure.
a maturity thing, and then once you get to the point where you're like, I'm sick of this, I'm sick of being in this hole of not providing for myself or having anything to be proud of, and then once you start building like we are right now,
Yep.
building small, you find something to be proud of, and like it's empowering. Honestly, it's for a long time I didn't have much to be proud of because it was just work, go live with my parents, go home, do nothing. I mean, I got to see my friends on the weekend, but there was nothing to be proud of. It wasn't like high school. You get to perform during sports, and you come home to your dad, he says, "You're doing a great job, I love you." There's nothing there to keep you going. People always support you, but there's nothing to...
It's got to like flip almost to
Yeah.
being here.
Show yourself
Yep.
that you can do it,
Absolutely,
you know?
Brandon.
Yep.
Absolutely.
That takes some learning.
Yeah.
It does.
And I know kind of exactly how you feel there because I've been out working for 3, 4 years, like steady, roughly
Yeah.
probably 3, and it's just, oh man, it's a nonstop battle. But a couple goals I had is I want to better my health. That's a big one.
Very important one.
Yeah, kind of slipped away from that, but I want to better my health. That'd be perfect for me. I also want to set a goal where I want to be a better me. I want to do.
That's deep.
I want to do more fun things, kind of like Zach wants to do. I want to do things where I want to try new things. I want to see what I like and don't like.
Yep.
I want to get my own place. I want to do my own thing, and I want to see where life takes me because I like to be ambitious. I don't like to be home.
Yep.
And I just want to be nonstop doing something. And I don't want to wear myself out, but I just want to do something I would be proud of. And I look back and say, oh, well, I was able to do that.
Yep.
And
You're going to, Josh.
Absolutely.
yeah.
You've done a great job already. You have a ton of responsibilities, and
yeah,
same with Brandon. You do a great job of making sure that the things you need to get done are done.
Right.
I also want to travel.
Oh,
I'm with you.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
been
we all
talking
do.
about trips for I don't know how long.
spring break, baby.
Yes.
Gonna happen.
I actually am. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I actually, speaking of the traveling aspect, while we were on topic, I got a good friend, John Gudrow. Actually, he's out
Shout out John Gudrow.
living his dream right now, out traveling all over Europe, and he's continuing to travel the world. That's something I would love to experience myself, and I'm sure the rest of us
Yeah.
would as well. But
So much.
I just
yeah,
wanted
for
to say,
sure,
John,
for sure.
good job, buddy, especially if you watch this.
Claps for John. All right, well, we're coming up on 28 minutes here. It's going to be roughly over at 30 minutes for this podcast. But I guess one final quick-hitting topic is I was thinking about this when we were talking about our goals. We're about to be in 2020.
Yeah.
We've just left a decade behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went on Spotify the other day and it said best songs of the 2010s. I was like, whoa. When did that happen?
Yeah.
I remember sitting in school, and I think it must have been fifth grade, around that. And the first time I went 201 instead of doing 2009.
Actually, yeah, I remember.
And it was
too.
so weird to me. I remember that moment so distinctly, and all the things that we did in this decade, and all the things we have to look forward to in this next one.
How cool is it?
Tantrums.
How cool is it going to be? It's 2020, the only part in this 2000s decade that's going to be 2020, and there's
See you in 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool as heck. I'm excited for it. I honestly think it's going to be a positive year. I think for
sure.
as long as you have that mindset and you want to keep doing positive things.
Yeah,
I think
have
it's
Oh,
start.
by the way,
gonna
Josh,
be a good year.
your birthday's right after that, isn't it?
Yeah, literally, I'd say a week and a couple days.
You got any big
Right
plans
after-
for it?
Not sure. To be expected.
Really? Well, I think you might have plans.
Yeah, you got plans. No, you do.
I think you do. I think you already do. I think that on Friday you're gonna get on a bus and you're gonna go down to Boston, Massachusetts, and you're gonna watch Zion Williamson play against the Celtics the next day.
Maybe. I will.
You're going
No,
to.
you're-
I have
you're
the
going
tickets.
to.
You're coming with me.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I will show you after this podcast. I'm not kidding.
Holy. Oh,
That's gonna do it for the podcast. Join us for more content.